this computer. Let's just record. Just make sure that we've got that recording. And I will mute now. Maggie, chuck your camera on, honey.
Oh.
I can't see. Where is Helen? She just sent me a message. Did she get it? Yeah. Oh. Did she get on? So anywho, must be busy. So welcome again, week 3. So you guys will still be continuing on that centre block, still doing all those sort of things, getting onto those border blocks, and getting onto the what do they call it, the actual border strips. I'm going to flip the camera down, so bear with me while I do that. Try not to touch anything this time round. Oh, it seems like I've got a message coming through. So, no, yes, I cannot get in, keeps asking me for a passcode. Okay, that's weird. All right, so try again. See if I can get her in there. Invite. Copy invitation. Let's try again. Try that. No, that's not what I want. Copy invite link. Try that. We might just wait until we can get Helen on there. Contacts, email, contacts, type to filter. So Helen. Invite people to join meeting. Da, 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 da. It's a bit weird. It's not letting her on today. So I'm going to just mute everyone. Okay. All right. So you can all still hear me okay? Thumbs up. Nice. Good. Okay. All right. So we can get this young Helen in here. What's the meeting passcode? Yeah, Gidget's getting that as well. Weird. Okay. Why's it a passcode today? That's just being weird. Invite. Passcode. Copy. 165958. 165. There we go. 165958. There we go. And let's try Helen and see if I can give her that. So it looks like passcode. 165958. Try that, girlfriend. Fingers crossed. And legs and everything else. All right, try that. Okay. So I might give them a couple more minutes to see if they can get in. This is really new to me, as you know, this Zoom thingy. If it becomes really, really annoying, I'm going to try another method because I can't do annoying. There we go. Admit for Gidget. Welcome, Gidget. Yep. Okay. All right. So we've got Gidget in and we're just waiting for Helen. She's trying to get in still. Come on. We might just get started. I'm sure she'll come in. It's recorded anyway, so she can watch it a little bit later if need be. Okay. All righty. Okay, so welcome again. Hi, Gidget. So I'm just going to adjust the camera. It looks a little bit wonky. It's like on an angle. It's just bizarre. So there we go. That's a bit better. Okie doke. Just move some of this out of the way and with the computer. That go a little bit higher. Oops, it's a bit higher so you can see a bit more. There we go. You can visual. There we go. Look at that. More tables. See all my mess. All right. So where we ended off last week was just discussing a little bit more about the centres and the outside borders. You can see, look at that. I had an issue with the thread and all that sort of stuff, and getting them to line up and getting them to join. The joining is a big thing. It's very easy for these to become skew-if. So measure, 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 and cut once. So it's really, really important to do so. You know, you find these things out as you go along. And I always say, you guys will do this so much better than me because I'm such a rough house. It's phenomenal how much of a buffhead I am when it comes to sewing. So I'm you know, that not so perfect thing, and you guys will have this lining up nicely, whereas mine will be a little bit more skew-if, but that's okay. I'm okay with that, and I don't take it out on any of you. So, there we go. Helen's in. All right, so just gonna, you can see that Helen's there. I'm just muting. Hello, Helen. Hello. Finally got in. All right. So it did take a bit to get you in there, didn't it? I just need to, I just might copy that code just for other people and just pop it in their thingy. Bear with me a second, just while I'm doing this. And of course, I am going to have this on, Margaret, no, I don't need that. I am going to have this on our unlisted YouTube thingy so that so that we can have a look at it later. Okay. All right, I think I've got everything sorted. I can come back. There we go. So getting back to it, we've got these 16 blocks in the centre, and then we've got the 21 around. You will have extra, what do they call them, papers, because I made sure you had an extra paper there. If you don't have an extra paper, please let me know and I'll chuck some in the post so that you do have an extra or two. But you can always copy them, okay, because this is your pattern to play with now. You can do as you please. Now, what I did with this pink one, and I don't think I explained it very well last week, is that with this pink one, I literally cut all the pieces and then I sewed them all together one big long piece, yeah? Then I would measure my quilt, literally. That could be a delivery or it could be the postie. So then I would measure from, you know, from here to here and cut that piece to fit. Okay, so that would literally just go from there to there, and I would pin, you know, end in the middle, pin it along and make it fit. It's best though to measure the center of your quilt. That's what I'm actually talking about, the center of your quilt. You've got to measure the width of the center. So measure that, Then cut your piece of pink out of that long big strip that you've cut, and then place that on there, joining the ends first, pinning the end and the center, of course, center first, ends, and then working it in nicely. And you'll do that for that one, okay? And then you'll put this piece on here, that one there, and then you'll do this one. And doing this one, you'll do those joins like I showed you last week, where you have the 1 inch in between, joining them together nicely, and then you'll have your 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And make sure you put your little black on the end. You'll need a black on the end, or, you know, depending on where it's got to go in the quilt, just double check where you've got to place it. As to whether it's this one, I wouldn't, because it's going to have a straight one going across that way, so I don't need to. But on this end, you know, you just double check that you haven't, looking at it, this one wouldn't have needed one either. But then I know by looking at it that it's going to fit in just beautifully. So placing them in 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got my purple. Now you can see with this one, that purple's smaller, isn't it? So I have trimmed, right? So I've gone 1, 2, 3, and 4, joined them together, sewn them down, and trimmed that off, because I want it to look even, as in, I don't want, you know, this to be longer. And did you notice that it was a bit different size until I mentioned it? Probably not. So, you know, it's still got the same, you know, licorice all sorts look to it, and it still has the same run of colour. It's just that it's a bit smaller, but that's okay, because instead of having that purple there, I've got the black. I've cut into the purple with that black, if that makes sense. So that would have been the same length as this, right up to the seam, but I've cut into it just to make it fit. And I'm okay with that. Are you all okay with that? It's all good? Yeah. I do that with that one. Then I go around here to this one, turn it around to the next one. And whether you turn it left or right makes no diff, okay? They're doubles, that's why they're there. You do that cutting, maybe, yeah. And I've done the same thing. You can see I've got a mitered join. Oh, hang on. Cancel. I just nearly accidentally cancelled the meeting. That would not have been good. Just make sure that we're still recording. Yes, we are. All good. So I've got my outside piece of black here that I've put around the center. I've now got that border on this side. So I'll just move it across here. This is joined on. So I've got this border, that border, all this center piece, the 4, and I don't have this on. This bit here is not on. Fold that over so it doesn't confuse you too much. There we go. And it would look like that, yeah? So that's where we're up to. So let's discuss this side. Again, I've done my piece across here in the black, making sure. Now, whether I've joined it or not, it makes no difference as long as it goes all the way across. So if you have, like I have here, it going from this way to here, and it's stopping and cutting off there, and you're joining it from there to there, and then you've got this piece going across here. So if you put a piece across the top, that's okay, as long as it looks like it's supposed to have that black break in between all those colours, yeah? I'm just making sure everyone's in and on properly. In the waiting room, who's waiting in waiting room? Ah, admit. There we go, Donna. Hi, Donna. All good. So does that make sense so far? So as long as you've got a continuous black line, if it's got a seam in it, it's okay. It's no big deal. Like, don't stress yourself out over one little seam. It's just so not worthwhile crying over. So as long as you've got them all joining there, that's fine. Got a nice big long one there. This is a part of that big long piece of pink that we cut, okay? So I've measured from here to the end, through the center, like to the side, with that side first border that we put on, border number 1, right, on the left-hand side, and I've measured that whole length. I've cut the piece of pink, and then I've literally sewn it on from center, pin, 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 all the way across, like 30,000 pins to make it fit, because it has to fit. And then I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Okay, so there's my 5 blocks. You just see them. And they have gone on top of another piece of that black, and that's 1, and I think it was 1.5 off the top of my head. All right, so that's that one there. So then you've put that black strip on. Again, do the same thing. Cut it the same length as this one. You can sew them together first and then cut them if you want to. It doesn't make any difference. It's up to you how you want to process that little step. But they're going to be joined together all the way across. Then from there, you're going to add this on. So you're going to join these one after the other, and make sure you don't join, you know, your yellow to yellow. Make sure you got your ends around the right way. So all you whatever color this big block is up the top, facing the right way around. So it's going all the same way, all the way around the quilt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And with this one, we were nice and lucky enough to not have to nick anything off the end of it. And if we did have to, we would, because we want it to fit. So, well, what I did do with this one is I did add a piece of black at the end. You see that? And that piece of black was 1 inch wide, with the seam taken out, is now 3/4 of an inch. Does that make sense? Yep, and that will measure right across from there to there, from this point all the way across to that point. So that gives me a black edge on that, but not on this, which I'm good with. That's what I wanted. And then we've done that one. So that is like border number 2. Yeah, everyone follow that one okay? I'm not talking too much gobbledygook. Is it logical so far? Thumbs up. I can't see you guys. Thumbs up. Yep, good, good, good. All right, beauty. Once I've got that on, and it's same. I'm going to turn it to the left again. Okay, because I tend to do that. I don't know why, but that's just the way I turn it. So this is going to be my next one. Oh. And what I'm going to have in front of me, it's getting bigger and bigger each time I turn it, of course, because I'm adding on this massive border. So I'm just going to fold that so it doesn't play with your eyeballs too much. Okay, so I've got this section here, and I'm looking at it going, all right, well, next is I've got to make sure I've got that black border, which I did it in the start. When I put all these together, I put a line black way around, beauty. I've made sure that that black border goes, I've added it on, go across, make sure it goes across the top of your pink. So when you join this black border on right here, and you've got this bit of pink here, if you go and sew that down, you're going to notice it's going to go to here. But that black border there, I actually added more on. So what I did was I sewed to around about here, left about 1 inch from the end off, right, and left a bit of a tail, left it there, and then I've sewn this side, this left border we just discussed on. Okay, does that make sense? And then once this was on, then I can sew that all the way down across. Yeah? So that bit of black there, it measured to the edge of that quilt, the center of that quilt, but I didn't sew it all the way to the edge. I've left a bit off so that I could join a piece to it and then sew across that border that I've just added on. Does that make sense? Everyone's looking bewildered. No, good. Yep, all following that. So then once I've sewn this side on, like I just discussed with you, all I had to do was sew that on across there. It was already hanging there, just sort of, you know, joined on, but to itself, but not joined onto the main quilt body. And then I just flipped it over, stitched it down, and it's down. Yeah. Good. All right. Then I've measured across the center from this end, from the right-hand side, all the way across to the edge of the border from there to get my measurement. And it's going to be different. I'm not giving you the measurement because it's going to be different every quilt. Your quilt is going to be different. Your seams are different to mine. Your stitching is going to be different to mine. It's probably neater for a start. So you're going to find that you need to measure regardless. I can tell you, say, for example, say that's 60 inches wide. I can say, right, cut it 60 inches wide. You get there, your quilt and your seams are different, and your, you know, when you sew your foundation piecing down, your blocks are about, you know, 1/8 difference to mine or whatever. That 1/8 all the way across the quilt will make a huge difference at the end of the quilt. Okay, so you need to measure your quilt personally for each and every case, and it's very important you do that, even in any pattern that you get, any pattern that you buy, because even though they say, all right, your center of your quilt should measure blah, 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 then you go and cut that piece of fabric, then you go and sew it on, and you're like, hang on a second, my quilt is 1.5 inches bigger all the way around, right? And that'll be because you've sewn on a different machine, you've got different threads, you've got different needle, you've got a different 1/4 inch, you're on the inside of the 1/4 inch, you're on the outside, you're on the lot. It's all completely different, okay? So that's why I'm not actually giving you like full measurement of this. That's why I said just wait before, you know, getting to this point, because I need you to be able to measure everything that you've got in front of you. Does that make sense? Everyone okay with that? Yep, good. Okay, so this is where we've done that black line. Now we're going to put the pink on. Again, this is from that big long strip of pink that we had. Even when I do write patterns, I tend to say a lot of the time when I've got to cut borders, cut at the same length as the center of your quilt, just for that reason. Okay, so you've measured from here to here, or from the left to the right, from the center of that quilt. You get your piece of pink, right? And again, now you can, there's tons of different ways of doing this. You have the exact same length. Me personally, I came back and put a piece of black on the end, right? Bit of black on the end of it. So it's a 1 inch on this one. For some reason or other, I've joined it that way. You can do it the other way I did, but this way I've done it differently, this is the sort of stuff that I do and freak myself out over because I'm a dill. So one way is doing it the way I said before, where you leave it off and then put your black over and sew that down and trim off any excess and get that perfectly nice that way. The other way is to measure across there, take off your 1 inch that you're going to join onto it. Don't forget to add back your seam allowance of 1/2 inch. So you're really only taking off 1/2 inch, and put your black on the end. Then add it on by pinning either the center, start at the center, and then either end, pin it to death, and then ease it in. Again, add on this border here. Oh, it's just a seam. So add on that one there. The same way, I just cut the length of that again, the same length as the pink, and sewed it straight on. Then we're going to do this one, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, which is lovely. So, and I didn't seem to have to take anything off this one. This was brilliant. So again, joined them together with my 1 inch joins in between, And at the end, made sure that I had one at the end and then one at this end. And this one, like I say, it's going to look bigger because it's missing its 1/4 inch off that side. So it's still only a 1 inch cut, but because it's only lost one seam and not two, it's going to look bigger than these. Yeah. So then you've sewn that one on. So then basically you've got 3 sides completely sewn down. Yeah. All good so far? All following? Yep, good, good, good. Nods, thumbs up. Great, awesome. All right, here's the telltale. You ready? Oh my God, so big. Do you know, when it first started, I thought, oh, that'll look nice. It's a nice little center. I went, oh yeah, that's really nice, but it needs more. Stupid woman. So, just keep adding. All right, so what you'll have in front of you, with a bit of luck, is that, no pink there, of course, and all the way across here. Oh my God. So all the way across. You're going to have a nice black line going all the way across there. So no matter, now if you need to tweak, just tweak. No one's going to care. No one's going to pick at you. And if they do, they can bugger off and take them off the Christmas card list. Yeah? Good, good. Because, you know, perfect's for the delirious. So we just want to get that black line across there. So we're cutting off that border from this one. Yeah? Done. So we're all good. We've got that on. We have now measured from the right-hand side of the center of the quilt to the left-hand side, and we have the measurement of your quilt. Yeah? You've got your piece of pink, and you're going to cut it to that, and your piece of black, and you're going to cut it to that. Pin in the center and either ends. All the way through, making sure it's eased in. Stitch it down, and you'll have that. All right. Now, this would have to be the absolute hairiest part for me. And Rado, you're funny because you're like, yeah, I know, I need to add this bit in and this bit in, and I've laid it all out and it's all measured. And I went, yeah, no, you need to wait. Because I'm like, yeah, all right, okay. So as you know, very much seat of the pants kind of person. What? So I have joined all these together, and obviously my little yellow square, which is my larger block color, has to go at the top. I have joined with a 1 inch in between black all the way across. Yeah. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 so far. All right, now if I spread that out, I look at that and go, yeah, is that going to fit? Now, is this going to fit? So I lay it on top of here, straight on top of that. And I'm looking at it going, oh, you know what? I'll pull it this way and I'll show you. We have an issue. So that block, that another way. So that other block that I gave you, that spare one, that's going to go on the end of there and continue on. Yeah. But before I do that, I need a piece of black, and I need a piece of black because I want to put that on the ends of those, that 1 inch bit of strip. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. So I'm literally going to sew a piece of black strip on there like that. I don't want it on my pink one, but I just want it on that one there. And then I'm going to put it onto this one. Just put a little strip of 1 inch there and sew it on. And then I'm going to get my next piece of paper, and we're going to do the next step. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Yeah. Right. So just have to scratch, sorry. And this is why I don't do the measurement thing with something like this. I would need to write out a pattern for this, as in a full-blown step-by-step and measurement, it would be as if it was immaculately perfect, I can guarantee you my quilt would not be the same measurements as the pattern. You get me? Because it just doesn't happen. That's just unrealistic. So only perfect people do these things. So what we're going to do is, first things first, I'm going to sew those little 1-inch strips on there. And to get that, I'm just going to pop this aside because she's massive and it's making me hot sitting on my lap. I'm going to grab out of all my little bits and pieces here. I need a drink of water. A big one, there it is. So if you need another one of these at any time, I can send it via email, no dramas. This one's printed out on A4. The big one, however, is printed out on A3. But I know you would want to just print it out as it is. But my suggestion is get me to print it out and I'll just chuck it in the post for you, right? Because my printer is going to print the same measurement each time, your printer might print differently, right? Which means your block's going to be different, yeah? So if you need to make this bigger again, right, just ask and I'll print out extra blocks for you for this quilt. If you decide to do it again, like as a table runner or a bed end or something like that, you want to do it again or use this in a different colorway, whatever, and you're starting from scratch, then as long as you've printed it all on the one printer, just the one printer, then that's fine. It's like sewing one quilt on 3 or 4 different machines. None of the seams are going to be the same because the machines are all have different seams and blah, 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 like I explained before. So if you need extra borders for whatever reason or extra centers, just ask, okay? Just send me a quick PM, email, whatever it might be, and I'll chuck some in the post. Yep, we're all good with that? All right, so just taking a swig of water. All right, oh gosh. Now, I need my little bits of black. So I have these tiny little bits here. God only knows if they're the right size. So I need to just double check. Yeah, they are. I've got my machine here. Bear with me. Mary's going to put black thread in for me, a black bobbin. So I'm going to grab my little iron and just give it a quick press. And just little untwisties. Plug it in. Alrighty. God, the threads everywhere. You know, the funny part about this is in the end, the girls, either Dottie or Mary, are going to be the ones going through and fixing all my seams and pinning all the threads off before I sew it to the long arm. She's not laughing. I don't understand why. You all need your own little pleb too. So I'm just saying. Your own personal little slave. There we go. All right. Well, not really slave. Slaves don't get paid. So I am with these, because they're paper pieced. With the paper piecing or foundation piecing, sorry, I always cut. I know when I did my sample and everything and doing it, I just did it at the seat of my pants. But I really do actually cut those pieces up in their right sizes. And I would lay that on there on the edge of the paper, of fabric, sorry, right sides together. No different than I would with any other thing. Just make sure that everyone who wants to be in here is okay and no one is waiting in. Yep, all good. Okay, and then I would pretty much just stitch down there, which I will in a minute. Dottie's just threading it for me. I'm just going to add one to the other side while I'm here because I might as well. And I still haven't taken any of these papers out, and there's a really good reason, okay? So as soon as you start taking them out before you finish, that's when you can really compromise your seams and everything. You really want to make sure it's completely sewn together before taking them out. Oh, it's a real poo at the moment because you've got it. Yeah, just being a bit of a poo with that threading thing. Then you've got to try and get yourself off the floor. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to sew here and sew the other one, and I'll be right back. And then we'll do the next step. Now, also just letting you know, I am sewing it from the paper side. So don't be fooled into thinking that you can just go sew 1/4 inch there and it's done. You absolutely still have to go from that paper side. You'll only stop yourself over. All right, that one. And again, like I said, I'm just going to turn it over. Take that pin out my way. Turn her over, and I'm going to sew that down. Okay, see how that went? I went a little bit wonky there at the end. Just give that a quick press, 2 seconds. See if that little wonky seam made much of a difference. No, all good. And press this end. And yeah, I've done it. Yeah. I did forget to put my seam on, my stitch length on 1.5, so I've just changed that. Still need to do that 1.5 thing. And they're just stitched on, just like that. Yeah? All good. So then we get this baby. Now, it's got to be this way going across the top of the quilt, because again, I've got to remember that needs to be at the top. So I'm adding on to the left-hand side, not the right-hand side. So I'm going to just pull that across until it needs a really good iron, which I will get there eventually. So pull that across. And I'm just going to take off the excess of this. Oops, didn't give myself much for seam. There we go. And that has to join on that way. Yeah, that way. So my first big, oh my godfather, is it's going to be purple. Oh, poo, because, you know, I've just run out of purple. So I'm going to grab something very similar that, you know, in the whole scheme of things, I shouldn't have used that. I should have just used something I had plenty more fabric of. But at the time I went, oh yeah, that's really cool, I'll use that. I might be able to find some in my scrap box, and I might be able to get Mary to have a quick squeeze for me. It's a big box of scraps she's going to have a squeeze through, and even in that one, yeah. So this purple one, so while she's having a quick look, see that? It's got the tulips on it. It's really, I've had it for a long time. And my horrible fear is that it? Can I have a look? Yeah. See, I've got this, right? So my temptation is now, just have a quick see if there's any more, is to sew a couple of pieces together, because for me, I know I don't have any more. You guys should have plenty, but me, I don't. So I might have to sew a couple of bits together just to get that little piece in there. Nothing more? No? Yeah, it's looking like it, girlfriends. So I'm thinking, let's just cut. No, it should be fine. So I should be able to get enough out of this piece. I just want to make sure. Yes, I've got enough. Oops. That way. Gosh, it's only just going to make it, you know. And it's going to be a really scant 1/4 inch. So I'm going to turn it that way, just so it looks more like a rectangle. How's that? And I'm going to put a scant 1/4 inch there. No, I doubt it's there. Here we go. So just going to open that up, and let's pray and hope that we've got the right one. Got enough. She's going to be tight. You know what? I'm going to make it work. All else fails, use force. That's all I've got to say. There we go. And then we've got, and I'm only going to do to probably about here. Right? So I'm not going to do any further than that because there's no point. That's going to end up getting cut off anyway. So my first one, and even though in my pattern, it wants me to go from, you know, here, like all this across, my first one is going to be from that one, then that one, then that one, then that one. Then this little bit here, then that and that, okay? Because I need to still go in my number order, but I just don't want to do those. Does that make sense? So I'm going to pretend I've done that and that and that and that and that one, that one, that one, that one. And now I'm going to do that one. So my first point of call is this one. So as in like any other of these sort of projects that we do, I know that I'm not going to need that. So I'm literally going to start on number 9. My number 9 is the green. And again, I might have to do a bit of a ferret through that bag. I'm going to pass me that bag over and I'll have a quick ferret through for the green, please. There we go. Look at that, plenty of it. So that'll do it just nicely. Okay, so I know that my first one is going to be this one here, number 9. The mouse has just moved. I don't want to get a tab on anything. So I'm just going to run that there. So that's my first. So let's do that one. It needs to be, again, on the other side. That's the one I'm doing here. I'm just going to put a mark on it here. That's the first one. And I need to make sure it covers the whole area, no different than before. I'm actually going to pop a little pin in this one, just across. Actually, I might just go that way. Go from this side because that's my sewing side. You can use glue, either way is fine. And I'm going to sew all the way around this one. Okay, so just like we did at the start in the number 1 block, I'm going to sew all the way around this one as if this is my number 1. Yeah. If you feel so inclined, you can cut this off. So let's move that fabric out of the way. So I can just cut that off there. and that is going to be my block. Does that make sense more now if I've taken that off? Yeah. So my first point of call is going to be this one here. So I'm going to go and sew around the edge of that, right on that line. Okay, all the way around. Give me 2 secs. So, like any other time that we've done this, trim off your little hairy bits, get them all out of the way. Take off all these. Fold back that paper and trim off the excess. You don't need it there, it's just going to get in your way. 1/4 inch there. Fold this one back, paper back I should say, trim that. Paper back, trim. Now, I could have said to you, just make 20, like an extra one, a 7, right? I could have said that. Just make 7 and we'll just cut it off, right? But rather than waste the fabric and your time, I decided that let you do to the 6 and then we'll work through the 7th one together. I think that was a better plan than going, okay, you just make another one and we'll just waste your time and then we'll just cut it all off. And I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't do that to anyone. So this is now my number 1. So that's number 1 and I've done it. So I'm just going to scribble out my numbers here and just go, that's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You can do this as well on yours, 5 and 6. And of course, this video is going to be there for you to come back and over and over again. So that just gives you a bit of a, that's what we're doing. Yeah. So I've done number 1, I've ticked it off. Now I've got to do number 2. And to do number 2, I need to actually, again, get my little bit of black, make sure I've got a 1 inch piece, which is that one. That's going to be way too short, so we just need to trim another one. Now, what you'll notice is against your ruler, you'll see it come outside of that little 1 inch line. And I tend to do a little bit of a chicken scratch thing and just try and manipulate it to line up with the line of the ruler. Don't use the board. The board's not straight. No matter how many people tell you that it is, it's definitely not 100% straight. Okay. This blade needs replacing, Mary. You want to, it's got a nick in it. It's very annoying. Do you want to just do that for me, lovey? Or just grab me the other one, swap them over. It just needs replacing, yeah. Oh, they'll be hanging up, yeah. All right, so that is that one ready. Again, I would have had my little excess bits. Take off the selvage. Just wanted to cover that area. And we're going to go up to our sew line. I might just zoom in here a bit for you so you can see what I'm doing closer. There we go. Up to my stitch line again and forward up to the edge. Okay. Holding on to it either side and taking it to the machine. Now, when I stitch, I'm stitching on this line here between 1 and 2. Okay, and I'm going to stitch on the inside of number 1, just along there. Just flip it back over and line her up again. Okay, I'll stitch that down. Okay, flip it over. Let's give it a quick little press just to help me along today. There we go. Down. Now we're ready for the next fabric. And looking at my piece, is that way. Number 6 is my last one. So I have done the green. My next one is going to be the pink. Luckily enough, I have a little bit here. And that's going to go on. Okay. So making sure from this side that I'm sewing number 3 to 2 now. So I just want to make sure it covers number 3, which it does. Trim off the over excess because it just gets annoying. Now, fold this back to that line. You can just see it through the paper, like I've explained all the way through, just to give yourself a bit of a crease where your seam, your next seam is going to be. Bring your fabric up to that crease and move it forward. That is now ready to sew that line there, right on that line between number 2 and 3. Okay, so we're going to sew that one. Okay, so we're going to grab that, pinch it, fold it, just like we always have, flip it over so we've got the paper facing us. We want our 1/4 inch, and I don't want that black showing, so I just need to tighten it up a little. There we go. There we are, that's good. Get rid of that. Get rid of our dags. One out of the way. I think I've got rid of the dags before, that's why I've got little tail things there. Come on, little boogers. There we go. And flip. I've got to press this time, just like I say, to save time. And glue if I wanted to. And that's that one ready. I'm going to fold this back to that line, that net stitch line, just so you can see the crease for where the seam is going to go. We're going to get piece number 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is number 4, and this is going to go up to that stitch line and past it by roughly 1/4 inch. I'm just going to move it down so I'm not wasting too much fabric. Not that it's really that much of a big deal. It's a little bit of fabric. Okay. I'm going to turn it around so I can grab a hold of it, pull it towards myself and flip it over. And I'm going to, actually, I'm not going to do that one. Don't do that, Michelle. You'll really do yourself an injury. We are going to glue down number 3 because I didn't look at my numbers. Let's just glue that down. A little bit of heat to it. Press it back. So number 3, 4's up here. Okay, so don't do what I nearly did. 4 is up there. I should have looked at my numbers first. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and I didn't tick off, so I didn't notice. And then 4. That's 5. If I do 5, it's going to really stuff me up. So we go 4. So we need to go this side, so fold it back to that seam line, a little finger press, a little bit of black there. I just need to come up to that and over and turn it and turn that. And we're going to sew all that number 1, 2, and 3 to the number 4 on just on the inside of that line. Okay, so I'll go do that. And because we've changed our steps with this, it'll change your flow. So you really do need to check twice, cut once. All right, so look back, fold it back. And we'll just trim that off. Away, that there. I am going to a little bit of glue there. Fold it over. Press down. A little bit of excess going on. Like that. Okay, so now we're ready to do number 5 once we cut our dags off. Come on, need me a little pair of scissors, don't I? So now I can tick number 4. And I'm going to do number 5, which is again is a black piece. So come back to where I was, right side's facing. And that's going to go right up to that line there and just past it. Just like that. Turn it, grab a hold and take it in the machine. Okay. So is everyone following so far? We're all good? Yeah? Yep, good, good. Pinch the paper, fabric together and fold back your paper. Have your paper facing you, getting all your fabric out of the way except for your seam that you want to trim. Take your 1/4 inch off, back. Just going to trim it a little bit off there. It's a bit wild and woolly. And we're just going to fold that over. Here. Yeah. I'm going to glue that down a little just because she's out there. Hopefully that's enough to hold it for a minute. Fold it back to that seam. And we're going to put the purple. Now, I know that I am really, really scared on this purple. So I'm going to use a very, very scant 1/4 inch when it comes to this. I am not wasting a millimetre. So I'm going to place it there, turn it, and fingers crossed and hope for the best. And I'm actually going to stitch that outside seam as well in a minute. So everyone got their fingers crossed? Because I have. All right, sewn it down. Oh, that seam looks a bit big. She's bloody tight. I'm going to have to undo that. I'm just looking at it going, no, it's moved. Right. I'm going to undo it. I'm not even going to try and push it. Now, with your foundation piecing, if you don't have one of these tools, you need to get yourself one, because when it comes to unstitching seams, this is the best way to do it, because it's a 1.5 mil or 1 mil seam, but it also stops you from tearing your paper out. You know what I mean? All right. So I'm reckoning I can just maneuver that down that way. I'm going to get that little rubbery doodah. Just get rid of those. I need to tick off number 5 because I know I've done that. And I need to come down. There's my old seam. I can see it. And I need to come on an angle. So just like that. I'm actually going to pin it this time round. I'm not taking my risk. Like that. Okay. So I've left it still joined at the top there a bit because it's not too bad. It's this end. This is a little bit thinner. So I'm just sort of playing around with mine. And I'm going to stitch that seam again. Love the rubbery end on this. Gets rid of all those little bits. And a lovely little cutter. So bear with me. All right, fingers crossed again. Didn't work last time though, did it? All right, let's try this. Yay! He's going to meet. Nice. So, a little bit of glue, just there and there. Heat that up, press it down. Hide 1,000 sins, just nicely. And I am going to sew that seam. Wouldn't normally, but in this case I am definitely. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, just depends on my mood. But definitely going to do it this time because I don't want it to flip back because it's such a scant seam. All right, so bear with me. Okay. Now I can now see how much seam I have. And I also know that when I join this together, I'm going to be coming in on the inside with my black strip that's just over here. Yeah. So I'll get rid of all my little hairy bits. Right, I can see the seam. You probably can't see it on the camera, but it's just in there. It's a real scant 1/4 inch there, like 1/8, and then it's good up that end. So I'm glad I did jig it around a little bit. Oh, good. So now I know that that one is done. And my next step is to join it to this baby girl, and it's going to join on there like that. Yeah. So you can see that all. Whoops, wrong way, this way. Directionally challenged with this camera thing, I tell you. So I'm going to cut from that line there 1/4 inch sort of gives me an eyeball on the seam. I'm going to turn this over. Don't forget your right sides together, by the way. And I'm going to line it up with the paper because I've just cut the paper at 1/4 inch from that seam, regardless of what's going on with my black, because that could be in the ironing, it could be in the seam. I'm just going to line it all up there. Just hang on to him and go this way just to hold on to it with some pins. Okay. Flip it over and I'm going to sew just inside, like I said before, on that seam and join that together. All right, fingers crossed. You're all praying for me. You want to pray today? Looking good so far. Okay. Oops, pins still. Take your pins out. Okay, so that's my join. Sorry, there you go. Join together. So now I'm just going to give it a little quick press. Just to neaten it up a little. And then I'll trim with the blade across here just to neaten it up with this, make sure it's all nice and neat. I have actually pressed this all the way along before, but because I've had it crumpled up in the box of goodies, it's just looking very unruly. So I need to come across and trim all this back. Which I'm going to show you. And this is a very quick iron, like, you know, I'm not really going overboard or anything. So flip it over. Don't worry about what's happening on the other side yet. What you want to watch is this line. You want to be cutting 1/4 inch at least from that line, no more than that. And having everything lining up nicely. And just do one block at a time. Stay down here. Don't try and go 6 blocks at a time and all that, because that little bit of black in between these will make it move and go a bit skewy. So just do a block at a time and get that nice and lined up. Move to your next one. And you're going to do that to either side. Okay, so this is going to go both sides. So is everyone good so far? That's how we trim it off. Today's a wobble. A bit hard to trim when you're sitting. Got a nice big piece of, I don't know what there, so that's going to have to be trimmed off. I don't know what the heck I was thinking there.
Just let me know I have to go.
No worries, sweetheart. Who was that? Denise?
Yep.
Yep, no worries, love. You've got to head off, do you, darling?
Yep.
No worries, sweetie. I'll have this on record, like I've recording it, and I'll share the link for the YouTube unlisted one, so it's just us.
Okay, thank you.
No worries, sweetie.
All right.
Bye. Okay, so I'm just sewing that across there, trimming that across there. Oh, good. It's pretty good, pretty neat for me. Okay. And missed a bit. Missed a bit. And then flip it around and do the other side. This is the confetti side of it, isn't it right, Redo? Little bits everywhere. I'm just going to trim that end as well. We want it nice and neat so we can line her up. Becky rings me yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, Sunday, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And she's like, oh my God, Mum, there's sirens. What's happening? I can't see anything on the Vic app. Like, okay. Okay, all right. Well, don't panic. I said, I'll be there in 15 anyway. Yesterday, it must have been. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah. Anywho, and then she's like, oh, you know, there could be a fire, and because it's quite warm and windy and all that sort of stuff, and she's doing a panic thing. So don't panic. I said, have a check on the app. I haven't had any notifications come through, but just check in case. Yep, no worries. So off she goes, she checks. Yep, there's nothing there. And I said, all right, well, brilliant. I'll be home in 10:15. Yep, no worries, Mum. See you then. And she's all panicked. Poor love. Sorry, but I have to go now. I think, yep, Denise Cass, yep. So anywho, I get up and around the corner from home. Well, it was Santa on the fire engine, doing all the bells and whistles for the kids. Said, it's all right, honey. It was only Santa coming to visit. And she said, oh, okay. She's 18. Oh, okay, Mum, that's good. Oh, thank God. I thought it was a fire. Yeah. No, honey. Santa. Stopped and thanked them. They do such an amazing job around here. CFA. Yeah, I need to get that is serious. That is a seriously very unruly little scene there going on. All righty. Have you found the access to YouTube okay so far? You guys have been able to get on there and have a look at it all? Thumbs up? Yep. No? Thumbs down? Oh, good. Yep. Good. Okay. All right. So I've done all that, but I do need to attack that seam that's I've seen twice now and gone, ooh, that's a bit nasty. So I'll just fold it with the paper side up and make sure I haven't got any little fabric shouldn't be there. The last thing I want to do is cut my piece of border. Nope, didn't cut through. It's all good. All righty. So get rid of my bits and pieces, all my little bits of confetti. All that. Here's the big telltale.
Stitching.
Oh, sorry.
I was magic stitching.
Oh, were you? Oh, you're clever. Did it work?
No. A new bobbin might help.
That's because you didn't have your fingers crossed and your legs bent in the right direction.
Apparently not. And the worst thing is my little thingy is even see-through. I can see that it's going to bloody run out.
Oh, you're joking. Yeah, I hate that.
I've got a new one.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to get this quilt and we are going to see if this matches nicely for us. Let me get my eye so I don't burn myself and anything else in the general vicinity. All righty. Some fabric out of the way. Grab this quilt. So I'm going to zoom it back out. There you go, so you can see what I'm doing. Doesn't look like it's going to fit, does it? You just look at it and you go, it's so not going to fit. Yeah, it does. Alrighty, so all on the floor, it's everywhere. Okay, so I've already got, I've trimmed my seam across, and you would do that trimming with everything. You need to do that trimming. You need to have those nice and not unruly like I had that other one, so that you don't, excuse me, you don't have issues the whole way through. So with this one, because we're letting it run off the quilt, so to speak, I'm actually going to pin from this side. I'm not measuring this last one. I'm going, well, sort of am and aren't. I'm actually going to let it run. But what I've got to watch, and this is why you leave your paper in, okay? And this is why I use a walking foot when I do this sort of stuff, even though it's not quilting. Don't stretch it. Do not, under any circumstances, stretch it. Don't pull, don't tug, don't do anything like that. As soon as you do that, that's when you start getting that hourglass shape in the ends of your quilts, all right? That's your telltale sign. So start at one end and line up that one end with the edge of your quilt, and it's on my right-hand side. I've just got my big monster pins there. I'm just doing that little scratchy thing just to get my black borders, because it's black on black, it gets a little bit nasty on the old eyeballs. So I'm just going to pin that one. I'm not pulling, don't pull, just lay it down nice and flat, pick up a pin, you've got them level, put the pin in, and then just move it to the next one. Don't pull. Don't tug this. So you can see it even just sewing it on, they get that Mexican wave thing going on. You know, they just do. The fabric, even, I mean, all fabric has movement in it, even cotton. So, you know, as soon as you start stitching it, you start getting that, you can see it, that movement in it. So just, you can starch it if you want to. Just lay it down nice and flat. Do not steam iron it, because if you steam iron it, you will stretch it. And that one just up about there. The only reason why I'm moving that one back again is because I've got a really cruddy seam there and my paper's missing. I'm just placing that down. So nice and steady. Don't stretch. Just lay that bottom one down. Place that one on top, just in the right. So it's, you know, lined up. One pin here, one pin there. And if you find like I just went too far, just unpin it. Don't try and, you know, stretch it in the wrong, you know, stretch it or push it back in. So you can see, you know, that there doesn't take much, and it just starts, you can see how it's all quite wavy. So you've got to be very gentle. I so can't wait next week to show you how to make your own foundation paper piecing patterns. So looking forward to doing that. You guys are going to love it. There's a whole new world. Okay, that's that. Sorry. Man, we're good. Now, another one. And again, like I say, I'm just holding it. I'm not stretching. I'm not pulling. Just letting it do its thing. Just 2 per block, 1 on either end, just to hang it in place. You see how much it's, you know. Now, you know, when I laid it down the first time, remember how I laid it all down there and we looked at it and went, oh my God, and it's a big gap like that. Well, guess what? When you actually pin it, and I put those 2 little bits of black, look how much I only had to add on. It's like a block. How brilliant is that? So we could have really only just done that 1 block, but unless you test it, you don't know. So everything's great, good in theory, but you know, all this measuring thing. I mean, I could have just added a big piece of black on the back of it, on the end of it. But when we first looked at it and you're laying it all out, you're looking at it going, oh my God. You know, like when you were laying it out, Rado, and you're looking at it going, oh, there's no way that's all going to fit around. But, and this is, I can see, I haven't trimmed that off. So it's quite crooked there. I can see it's got a little bit of a bow in it. So that's even got to be trimmed yet. Also, I haven't trimmed it straight. So that is going to end up being pretty much just a piece of that purple, just as a continuation of the pattern. Yours might be 2, or it could be right on the mark. You know, you might have it right on the mark, but that's how you'll get yourself out of the shite when it comes to one of these patterns and you're looking at it going, okay, well, it's bigger. So rather than unpicking all those borders and trying to get it to squeeze it in and adjusting all your seams and everything, if you were to just accommodate with just that 1 little thing, then all of a sudden you've got yourself right out of the poop. You understand? Yeah? So again, if I had I could have stretched this. I could stretch that and really do that as well. So, you know, especially once the paper's out, I could stretch it. But what'll happen is it'll get that, again, that Mexican wave thing, and it'll look shocking. So we don't want to do that. You really don't want to, you want to avoid that stretch thing at all costs, okay? So just let it do it fine. We've added on a little bit extra. That pin, and I'm just going to let that sit there just like that. I'm not going to sort of, you know, I'll pin the end of it, sorry. I'm not going to, you know, trim it off or anything, because I have to start from this side. This is where my paper is, because I'm sewing to something that doesn't have paper on it. I have to sew from this side. So I'm going to come off here and then run all the way down, all right? And I'm literally going to sew straight on that line. I'm going to come up to each pin and, you know, so you can see that sort of a little bit, you know, skewy there. Just line her up again. You see it's just been a little bit, you know, poopy. Just pop another pin in it, all right? And just all the way down, okay? So you just start off here because we've got a little bit extra, and using a walking foot, it'll just feed it along nicely without stretching. It's not going to pull or anything. And I'm just going to go all the way down. So bear with me. I'll just pop something prettier in front of you, just so you know, not bored with the view. My glasses out of the way, gloves, mouse. And did you want to see this? Do you want me to move the camera for you so you can see this being stitched down? I'm happy to do that. Just type in an answer, it's fine in the chats. No, everyone's good. Okay, so I'll just stitch that down. give yourself plenty of room because it's getting such, it's quite a big quilt. There's my little scissors. Wonder where you guys went to. Where you been? The weekend off. Let me see. Getting my pins out. Bear with me. So I don't know about you, but I tend to sit a lot of my quilt on the side and then on my lap. Just seems to be the easiest way, especially when they're big. And same with quilting. I'll do the same thing. Do you know how long I've been waiting to do this seam? I've been holding off and holding off. I am so wanting to do this with you guys. Because like this is like the final seam on the whole thing. Except for the ones that Mary's got fixed today. Some of my little seams came undone in one of my blocks, so I have to get it because I didn't use the proper. I didn't tie it off at the end. Okay. Almost there. And I tend to stop and reposition it so there's no major drag on it, and it's coming in at a right angle to the machine. The quilt's at a right angle, if that makes sense. So did you see the nice big wounds on my arm? I'll tell you that in a minute. I don't know if I told you. We are so close. I just have one of those moments where you just think you've got no thread in your thing. Rightio. Now, it's everywhere, haven't I? Okay, I haven't lost you all yet, so it's all good. So far, so good. So that worked a treat. Now would be the time I would press just that seam. I can't hear when you're at the same edge. Sorry, Donna. I was literally just mumbling to Mary. Sorry, it was nothing important. Just mumbling. All right, so we get all the way across, and then we've got this little tail. This little booger here. So we're going to turn her around, that out of the way so I don't trim it off. And have that as right angle, you know, that sort of thing as much as you can. I might just quickly chuck just that seam under there, just to keep it steady. So, I mean, you can see how much fabric moves. It's just such a living organism, really. Crazy. Now, I like to use this big one as my larger one. I think I buried my blade. Yeah, I did. No, no, I didn't. Where did I put it? I buried it somewhere else. Oh my God, Father. Yeah, found it. Everyone can stop looking now. Thank you for helping. So I then use my ruler as my right angle. So that just, I line up my seam. I can look, my seams are not going to be perfect, and I'm okay. I'm good. That's okay. Then I will use the ruler as a guide, especially with that outer edge and this side here. And you know, I looked at that before and it looked really skewy, but it's actually not. It's funny how the eye looks. So it's not as bad as what it seems. I do need to move it a little bit. Just tweak that out a bit. There we go. And just adjust accordingly so that you've got this, my lines are ruled up, my lines on my ruler are lined up with the edge of this piece of fabric, lining up some seams at the same time, just, you know, just trying to keep them all fairly regimented. I'm going to run right across up there and cut that baby off. We don't need that baby. There's your quilt label. Put your name and the year you made it. There you go. Just like that. You've done a quilt label. How good are you? All good. How cool is that? You've now got a quilt label. And we didn't even try. Right. So that has now completed that quilt. Now, oh, come on. Emily, there's stuff everywhere. So instead of making a nice or a great big black, you know, piece at the end there, I've just let it run off as if the pattern's just running off the side of the quilt. And I think, to me personally, that looks better, don't you think? I think that looks better than having this big black blob there. I'm going to starch this. I'm going to make sure the seams are okay. I'm going to make sure it's all, you know, okie-dory, all the little bits of fluff and fabric and seams are gone and all that sort of stuff. Mary's going to sit there and pick out all the paper because, you know, that's just Mary's job. So, so talking about that, now you would have noticed I have taken out the majority of the paper from the center, and the only reason why I did that was because I had these borders on. That's the only time you can take it off, is once you've got another seam of something attached to it, okay, then you can take it off. Now with this, because this is the edge of the quilt, the end of the quilt, you're going to now want to take these off, all right? So my mum's just rocked in. Hi, Mummy, what's going on? I'm on live on a thing. Oh, how come you're up here today? Oh, you're joking. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No worries. Okay. See you later. Have a good day. Okay. So, because we have now got these all stitched, they're all stitched at, you know, that 1.5. Now's the time we get to take them out. Even though we don't have anything across here, if you wanted to, you could overlock this outer edge, or you could zigzag it, or you can take the chance that it's not going to come undone. But just be, when you do this outer edge bit, because it doesn't have anything attached to it, just be gentle, okay? Really sort of support it as it goes. Don't pull too hard on those seams. You don't want to have them come undone like I did earlier with mine. So just gentle, okay? Now, you'll find, okay, if you get a pin and score the back of that paper, just like that, and I'll zoom in again. So you just run the needle down, just like that, and do this. It should just slip out of there nicely without having to get the full-on tweezers into each and every little groove. You might have some corners here and there, but look, to be honest with you, it's going to be pretty good. So you get little tiny bits. The other thing too is you can try and get them out with the rubber end of the seam fix that you got the other week or month ago. So you see these little fellas, you can try and get them out with that. I don't know if it'll work. Wait until you do the other side, score it. Hand underneath. Be careful not to cut through. Don't use a blade or anything. You don't want to cut through to your fabric. Just pop your finger on there like that, and it'll come through nice. This is something you would sit in front of the TV in the evening and just sit there and do. Now, if you hadn't, if you've got little tiny bits there, you know what? They wouldn't bother me in a whole quilt. That's not something that I wouldn't leave that sort of thing in. That would have to come out. Yeah, if you've set your seam and your stitch length right, this will become just a nice little project just to sit there in the evening while you're watching the news or having a cuppa or whatever. Get the grandkids onto it and get them out. I find that I don't need to use tweezers that much if I use a really fine seam stitch length. Okay. A little bit of, it could be the glue too that's holding that little bit of paper down. Wouldn't overly stress too much about it. It will sort of wash away. It's such a small amount of paper, and it's just going to go into the seam of the, into the wadding. All right, so this is what we're going to do. And you're going to sit there and do it to the whole quilt nicely. Once you've done all that, then I want you to press and starch and, you know, make it sit nice and flat. And she's ready for quilting, girls. Like, you are ready to go. So this is to me, the most tedious out of the whole thing, because, you know, I've got other things to do. But you can see that the seams do come apart nicely with a small stitch. So you can all unmute yourself, please. That would be super awesome. So we can chat, ask questions, please, if there's anything you're unsure of.
Michelle, I'm ready to put mine together. I just want to double check the width of that black seam on the pink.
It's 1.5 inches.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
And did you put black on the end of each of the block seams, or the smaller blocks that you're working on now?
These?
Did you put black on the end of each of those rows?
I actually did on yes, I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
So both.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, I did. Yep. I've got a seam coming undone. How's that? That's because I didn't knot off, you know, go backwards. You know how I said you go backwards? That's what happens when you don't. Just FYI. So that seam is going to have to be grabbed in with the needle and thread. Yay, Mary. Mary gets the good jobs. Anyone else? Any questions?
Don't think so.
No? Did I answer your questions today, Rado, from the other day?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how I could maybe put the extra piece in the centre, because my OCD didn't want it at the end.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that one.
But after watching you put yours together, it's only going to be a little bit at the end. I could probably live with that. Yeah, look, to be honest with you, that small amount at the end, and you know what, if you were to add 1/8 of an inch in each of those, between those blocks there, that black there, so instead of it being 1 inch, if you made it 1 1/8, right, by the time you got to the end, you'd probably find you'd be right at the end. Yeah.
But you could also go over the end. Do you get me?
Yes.
You're guessing. You've got to figure out how many seams you've got, how many sides, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, and I get you on the OCD thing. And I do get that little OCD thing, but normally it's with arty stuff, not quilty stuff.
I'm getting better with my OCD, but it still triggers.
But I let it go these days. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anything finished. I'm just going to be there re-sewing, unpicking, and and yeah, life's too short. So
The issue that I'm having is where the cutting instructions were funny on the purple bits. It's very, very snug, and I'm going to have a very, very scant seam.
Where's that? On this?
On the border blocks, where you said you didn't have the right cutting instructions, and we've just had to cut them ones in half because I didn't have enough fabric to recut them.
Oh.
That's very scant.
Oh, because they were too long.
Yeah, you didn't give the right cutting instructions.
That's right. Yes. So has anyone else cut these ones?
Yeah.
There's no wiggle room at all.
Yeah.
For them.
Really wary. That's something we have to adjust on the pattern.
Yeah.
No,
and if you do need more fabric of the purple, I have it here. I can send it out. So
no, I'm making it fit, but it's
a very scant seam on them ones.
Yep, right. Okay, so just be wary, girls. So that's something that we've got to adjust in the pattern and make sure. Yeah.
You only said to cut them at, was it 12.5 inches for the centre blocks?
It should have been like 10.5 or something.
There was no cutting instructions for the border blocks.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Yep, I'm hearing you. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
just, if you're not up to that yet, ladies, it's very tight. You've got to make sure you've really watched that seam.
Don't 10 mil yourself. Yep.
Oh,
Look at my wound.
The pattern should read it, that purple one, cut 21, 2 inch by 2.5, and 16, 2 inch by 7.
So they need to be, you know how it says 2 inch for that purple one, right? I'm looking at this now. This was 2 inches.
They should be at 6.5 inches long for them pieces.
Yep.
They're only just 6.
Yeah. Yeah. They need to be the width of the block.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then because I just cut them in half because that's all I could do.
No, yeah, that's right. You cut them in half and you literally are right on that. Yeah. So
they're actually just under. There's not a 1/4 inch seam either side. You've only got about a 1/8.
Yeah, it's a very scant one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be wary. Yeah. If you do overcut or anything like that and you need the fabric or you got the kit and you need extra, just say, I'll just send it out.
And that one block that we had to cut short for your end.
Yeah.
That'll work for the first block where I put the A5 colour in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that won't waste that block.
Exactly. Yeah. And how's that signature block?
yeah.
Name, the quilt, the year, done. How's that? That was fluky, and I'm happy with that.
Let's say you have to unpick that one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, no, well, and I'm looking forward to, like I say, next week. We've actually gone 2 hours, believe it or not, with 2 hours, and I think I've done 3.
How far along is everyone?
Yeah, it's a good question. How is everyone going?
Just about to put them together.
Fabulous.
As in just your centre blocks or all of your borders?
All of my borders.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got my centre one done and one strip of the border.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, you guys have done really, really well.
I'm into the last assembly on mine.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, just on that purple fabric again. I had fabric left over.
Did you?
Yeah, you gave us 75 centimetres of it.
Right, that's it. Send it off. Send it back. I'm joking.
I cut all my pieces at the 12.5,
yeah.
And then I just cut the 16 back to 7, and I've got masses left over.
Wow. Someone else has done. Oh, yeah, I wonder what happened there. I can't remember who put the. Can you remember, Mary, who put those kits together? Was that Dottie, I think? Or was it me? I can't remember. Obviously, someone's somewhere along the line it's been cut short. I wonder if you were shortchanged, Lisa.
I don't know. I'm making it work though.
Good on you, love.
All our spales use force, I say.
Wow.
Oh dear. All right. Well, we've sort of done as much as we can do here for today, and I'm liking that. So I'm liking the fact that it runs off. But like I said, you add that 1/8, and you might find after 5 or 6 seams, you'll end up at the end. But to put that in writing in a panel, in a pattern, is just about near impossible. Yeah. So it's very hard to explain, very hard to sort of, and when you're making it and flying off the seat of your pants and you're sort of going, okay, well, you know, in the whole scheme of things, if I had have maybe had my seams better sewn together, the whole way through the quilt, I wouldn't have had that. You guys might not have that. And that's what I say. You might not actually have that issue. So
And everybody sews different.
correct, absolutely correct. Yeah. Me, I'm not a perfectionist. Maggie knows that. Helen knows that. Most people know that. So, you know, so if you find that you get all the way in and it just sits beautifully there, bang, perfect. And if you don't, then that's how you fix it. That's how you fix it.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So now
I
I've
think
got.
that is the first time I've used my walking foot. I always use my HP foot.
I do.
I
Yeah.
haven't actually used my walking foot yet for this machine.
Well, I like it because it just feeds it along nicely without putting any strain on the fabric, because it picks itself up and grabs and moves along.
Yeah.
So, and when you're, and because this, you've got the paper as the layer as well, so it's sort of 3 layers. When you've got so many seams joining, meeting, and you're really sort of relying on not having anything stretch or move too much, the walking foot just sort of makes it a little bit easier just for it to tick along and not put anything out of shape. It's brilliant. I love it.
I've just got in such a habit of using my HP foot. I just
The all-purpose type thing. Yeah. And I use a lot of the time I use the small one, but I've been using the larger walking foot, and it's been beautiful. So,
yes, I've got, I think is it 9mm walking foot? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. That's the one I've been using. It's been beautiful. It's working perfectly. Yeah.
Be an excuse to try something else.
Oh, mine's automatically on my machine. So
You've got a FAF.
Yes, I've got a
FAF's got the IDT. Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So that's all I had ages and ages ago on my old machine. Look at that seam. What a poop. That's when I first started. I started this on the old, so I've done this on 2 different machines, which has not helped. And that seam, looking at that, that's had an issue. Look at that. That's had a tension issue. So that's going to be fun, isn't it? I'm hoping that I'll quilt it to death.
I was just going to say the same thing. Quilt over, darling. Quilt over.
All our scales use force. I keep saying that.
How are we quilting it? Are we doing a video on quilting?
Well, I can do one, sort of an update maybe, probably sometime, maybe probably thinking Feb. Yeah, get me through some of these quilts I've got to do for some clients, and get myself organised to get through Christmas and New Year. But yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do a block at a time, and yeah, let's do it. But I mean, I can do it as a free for all for everyone to watch, because they'll just be jealous that you guys have it and they don't.
Oh, I'll do this one again.
Will you?
Yes, in different colouring. That's all.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. Oh, there's another scene. Yeah, I actually think I do like it. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's not a hard pattern. There's straight lines. There's no real major points or anything like some of the Judy and Maya ones you get in there. Like everything's to a really big, mariner's compass type thing. They can be really quite.
I've done 4 mariner's compass, so.
Aren't they a nightmare?
I haven't tried it yet.
Or haven't you?
Haven't
No,
you?
I got the ruler set, and then I had too many foster kids and never ever got to give it a go.
Yeah, it's personally, I love her quilts. I think they're absolutely amazing. And I've got one that I'm, started probably 2 years ago now, and I haven't gone anywhere with it. But I find her patterns really hard to follow, like her instructions really hard to follow. But maybe that's because I'm very layman-like, and she talks very technical. So I sort of look at it and go, yeah, I've got no idea what to do. Hey?
Mine's just a ruler set.
Oh, is it? No, this is a pattern. It's not a ruler set. It's actually like with all the papers in it and everything, and yeah.
Oh, that one's different.
Oh, yeah.
Paper paste.
Yeah, or foundation piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I just find it, she's very analytical, and that doesn't help with me very much. Analytical, I don't do. So, yeah,
Just learned it out of the book.
Hey?
I just learned it out of the book.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, I was taught many moons ago by a lady how to do foundation piecing, and I first started by hand with any kind of, you know, EPP and stuff like that. And then went on to the sewing machine stuff. But we started out first ever foundation piece one was a pattern that we made ourselves from scratch.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's how I learned how
Michelle
to do
taught me.
Hey?
You taught me in Cobram.
That's right. Yes, I did. Yes. Yeah, it's not hard. It's just getting your head around doing the reverse thing to what you normally do and remembering that process, that step one by one by one. And when I first started, I used to do, you basically stitch the same seam twice, but you go just on the inside of every single seam. And then, of course, you know, you get taught the shortcuts and stuff, which is what we do in this one. But, yeah, the lady actually, she taught me how to do it. And so my first one was, it looked very similar to a mariner's compass, but not as big and not as, you know, cumbersome, not as many points. But that was, and we started, and that actually started from a little tiny piece of square. And I kid you not, it would have been not much bigger than that A3 piece there.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. And then we had 4 of them. So you draw your design on here, and then you get 4, and you'd have them all together. Oh my God! So we won't do it that time, but we will actually. I will actually show you how it works. All right. So yeah. All right, ladies. Well, thank you.
So I can finish that, Quill.
Sorry, darling.
I'll have to get those couple of pattern papers off you so I can finish my New York Beauty quilt.
I know. I've got to remember which blocks to send you.
I think I'll have to go back through. I think it was 1 and 3.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll see if I can. 1 and 3. Can you write that down? 1 and 3 in New York Beauty. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it for you.
It's not like I haven't had things to keep me occupied anyway.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Did you see my wound?
Yes.
A sheep.
That bloody ram. So I sent him off to a friend's place to keep the grass down for a little while and give the old girls a bit of a rest. Otherwise, he just keeps getting into them, driving them nuts.
Well, that's his job.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, he just needs to leave him alone for a while. All right, ladies. Well, thank you again for joining me. We will see you next week with how-tos, and maybe we'll have some discussions. I think it'd be really good if we could have some discussions on what to do with our quilting. It gives us some time, and yeah, and we'll go from there. And whether you want to see it quilted on the sit-down machine, on the long arm, what you would like. There you go.
Well, I have no choice in that matter. I've only got my sit machine.
Sit down.
Same here. I've only got a sit machine.
Me and Helen.
One day. It's in the future. It's on the one-day list.
No, nothing wrong with that. Mary's going to make me a cup of coffee. And I am going to see you guys later on this Savo. Probably it's at 1 o'clock, but give me time to clean up my crap here and get myself organised, because I am slowly just making a nice pile of paper. I'm doing Mary's job. Just saying, Mary. Just saying, Mary. Just saying.
Mary's off the Christmas card list.
Mary's run away. Oh dear. All right, ladies, I will once it all processes and everything downloads and that, I will get it up onto YouTube so you can fast forward and all that sort of jazz and get through, you know, see what you want to see.
All right, no worries.
See you guys soon. Thank you again.
Thank
Bye.
you.
No
Thank
worries.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.